Alright, this is my best attempt not to be the biggest Axial fanboy in the world. But let me show you why I pick the Axial as the brand of choice when it comes to my rigs. Not to mention why specifically all these rigs have something in common. Stay tuned. What's up guys, RC Syndicate here. Hope you guys are all doing well. Back with another video today, and today we're going to be going over again, like I mentioned, why I run Axial so much. I run Axial on almost everything. I'm going to do my best to not be just a fanboy, although I am, but to be more objective with it, to let you know why I run it. So if you guys are looking into getting into crawling or looking to get into competition really, you'll understand why I choose to pick this particular platform and why I'm choosing a specific a specific kind within this platform of Axial for all my rigs and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll help shed light on a few things and just help you kind of guide your decision making, maybe influence it here and there, because again, I am Axial fanboy, but also just to help if you choose to go with a different company. So first things first, you guys have seen this particular rig right here. This is my class 1-ish. Nothing crazy right there. It's an Axial SCX 10-2. You guys seen how it runs? I think it performs pretty damn well. And it holds its own. Yeah, it has a lot of performance parts, but it holds its own. But to be fully transparent, this thing actually broke a few days ago, and it took its parts from this guy right here. This right here is an Axial SCX 10-2, also just like that rig right here. Same chassis, more or less, same drivetrain, more or less, but able to swap components. Again, Axial SCX 10-2. You guys will see with these diff right here, these are the Unimog diffs. That's how this originally started out as when I got it, but again, Axial SCX 10-2 based. But to be quite honest with you, this one was actually broken a few days ago also, and this one took its parts from. You guys have no idea how much a pain in the ass it was to rearrange all this stuff. Again, first world problems, right? But again, that rig took parts from this particular rig right here, the UMG 6x6. And well, actually, this rig wasn't running a few days ago also. This rig took parts from this rig. This is my class 1 that I used for competition. If you guys haven't checked that out, link will be above. Check that out. It's a great rig. This is an Axial SCX 10-2 based, which is exactly like this one, which is exactly like this one over here, which was exactly like the one I showed you prior to that. But to be full transparent, this one wasn't running a few weeks ago either, and this one took parts from another rig that actually took parts from this rig right here. This is my G-Shot right here, again Axial Capra based, not a SCX 10-2, but still Axial. Still was able to take parts from here and put it on the other rigs. But full transparency, this rig actually had a problem, and I needed a reference to be able to help me solve this problem. Well, all the other rigs are put together and tied up, so this rig actually had parts taken off from another rig. Allow me to grab that one. And here it is, my bone stock Axial SCX 10-2 deadbolt. Again guys, back to Axial over again. I haven't even talked about the pros and cons of running Axial versus Traxxas. I'm not actually even focusing on that. That's a whole different topic for a whole different video. And honestly, it could be debatable because Traxxas does produce some amazing machines. This is just me being Axial since forever. Matter of fact, I'll actually grab down 2 of the rigs that kind of kicked this whole thing off for me. Actually, 3 of the rigs that kind of kicked this whole thing off for me, so you guys can check that out. And it's all to a point, guys. Just stick with me and I'm gonna get to that point. But this is Axial SCX 10-2 bone stock. Now excuse the dirt on her, she almost never hits the trails. But this is my Axial SCX 10 deadbolt. relatively stock, minus a few upgrades, I think like a VEC, some relocation stuff here and there. You get bumper or whatnot, but stock. And again, Axial. This actually supplied parts to the other rig, which supplied parts to the other rig, so on and so forth, and it kept going, guys. And again, stick with me because I have a point here. Now let me go ahead and drop down two of the other rigs that started it, but also played key roles on the competition rigs that just happened in 2022 versus this technology that's almost 10 years, if not 10 years at least, old. Again, guys, I'm driving a point here. Stick with me. This right here is my Axial XR10. I've waited forever to get my hands on this particular rig, and just so happened I was able to. Super ecstatic. Just been so pleased. I have never taken this thing onto the actual rocks. Haven't done it. Will I ever? Probably not. Will she be a shelf queen? More than likely. But this rig right here, guys, although it's never been ran, this right here supplied parts to the rigs that I've mentioned before, so on and so forth, carried all the way through. Some of these parts are universal, absolutely, but some of these parts are not, because they're Axial specific or kit specific, but they provide a specific baseline, if you will, that Axial has used through every single one of these vehicles, because they've progressed. There's been innovation, there's been changes and stuff like that, but it all started from somewhere. And again, that's why I'm trying to drive a point here. And this last rig I'm going to pull down is the final rig and the oldest rig that I have, and that should help drive the point of why I'm sticking with Axial and why I run Axial only, and why I'm running the kits that I particularly run, and hope this will help. Now, last but certainly not least, this is my Axial AX10 Scorpion. This one right here is not the original rig that I started off with. I actually started off with the truck version of the AX10 Scorpion, but this was what kicked it off for me, the AX10 Scorpion. Guys, this rig being as old as it is, I started comping back in 2008, 2009. This rig being as old as she is provided information, provided insight, provided everything that I needed to compete in 2022. This one right here is 100% original stock. No parts have been lifted, but the technology has been lifted from this rig to this rig to this rig, and then all the before mentioned rigs all the way through. This one provided the idea of running a standard 3-gear transmission. Fast forward to all the other rigs, 3-gear transmissions, old style. Yeah, you start to see what I'm saying? I've carried that technology all the way through because it's tried and true. It's proven on multiple platforms. Then you go with axles. Well, of course, this rig right here has outdated axles. Right here, this is MOA, not even allowed. Then it jumps you up into the SCX-10-2, right? It comes up to that stock deadbolt that I was showing you guys. It's a stock SCX-10-2, which shares parts through every single rig thereafter, minus the capper in regards to the drivetrain. Or does it? No. Matter of fact, that transmission can go on any one of these rigs. Those axles can go in any one of these rigs. Servos, any one of these rigs. All those things that I made specifically tweaks for the Axial can go in any one of these rigs with little to no, and mostly the case is no modification. Just plug right in, drop it in, guys. And that's where I really want to drive that home, is that I'm loyal to the brand Axial, absolutely, but I will look at a TRX4 because I know that rig can perform. Look at my buddy Matt. My buddy Matt has shown you guys that TRX4 on the stock RTR, man, can freaking get down. Absolutely. A Vanquish kit can get down. Absolutely. RC 4-wheel drive kit with some modifications can get down just fine. There's a bunch of manufacturers out there that have awesome rigs that can really get down when it comes to competing and trail riding and stuff like that. Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, right? You have all those manufacturers that you're running. If parts break on 3, you probably can't rob them from class 2 and 1. So what do? Well, you're down 3. If 2 breaks, you probably can't rob them from 1 and 3. Then you're dead in the water. If 1 breaks, so on and so forth, 2 and 3 probably can't have parts that swap through. Or you can do what I do and use the same platform through all 3 classes, and then even trail rigs, fun rigs, toy rigs, rigs that just sit there have the same parts. So in the event parts break, you can always go and find rigs that you already have on hand that you can pull parts from. It's not as simple as just going to Amazon or going to Hobbytown or any of your, anybody, and just grabbing parts anymore. Things are starting to change. Products are starting to get harder and harder to find, and more often than not, to retrofit a rig to accept new parts, that stuff becomes expensive. The competition rigs are a prime example of that. That's brand new technology going onto older parts, the AR44 axles, older parts, especially when you have AR45 axles or F9 Curries that are coming through Vanquish that are way better, and the market's starting to shift towards it. So all that being said, I say that to say this is, stick with the brand, get comfortable with the brand, learn that brand inside out. Axial Racing, now Axial Adventure, I've been with this particular brand as far as using their products forever. Sure, that's a fanboy, absolutely, but it works. They continue to work, and I have not found the reason to really get out of this brand and look for anything else. Provides everything I needed. Also, I'm able to jump parts from all these different platforms, and they're all able to work together. Also, the other way, I can go from the brand new rigs all the way down to this one, take parts from the brand new rigs and put in this one, and it would just be plug and play, or little to no modification. That's huge right there, because parts are not cheap. Parts are getting way more expensive, and you got to have that flexibility if you're going to be competing and or trail riding. Guys, I've taken up enough of your time. I appreciate it. If this is your first time on the channel and you enjoyed what you see, consider hitting that like button. If this is something that you like to continue to see and you want to support the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, I always appreciate the support. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Until the next one, guys, y'all be safe.